Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Ananda Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Praise the Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Rupa Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kundi Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Ki Jai, Madhuvan Ki Jai, Adhyavan Ki Jai, Jagannath Ram Ki Jai, Bhakti Ki Jai, Tulasi Ki Jai, Yogamaya Ki Jai, Gangavaya Ki Jai, Samarita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the Smriti devotees. All glories to the Smriti devotees. All glories to the Smriti devotees. All glories to Shri Guru. All glory. Rama Hare Hare. Jananjana Shalakaya Chakuranvitanavana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Kadati Swarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sagana Raghunatam Itam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Hare Krishna Krishna Bando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Hostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Ancha Kalpa Drubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now chapter 4 text 2. That's page 216. We'll chant together, please, the Sanskrit. Evam param para praptam
Imam Raja Shriyo Vidu Sakale Nehan Lahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. Translation together. The supreme science was Text 3. Saevayam maya tejya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosi me sukha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Translation. That very ancient science
of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
4. Arjuna vacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivaspata katam etadvijaniyam tvamado bhuktavaniti. Translation. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivishwan
is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him?
Text 5. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Purune Vyatitani Chanani Tavacharjuna Anumatvam Parantapa. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, many births
Both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy.
Text 6. Ajopi san avyatma Putana Shvaropi san Prakritisvan adhishtaya Samavam yami atmamaya. Translation. Although I'm unborn, and my transcendental body
Never
deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium.
Original transcendental form.
Text 7. Vani dharmasya vani bhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tatatmanam srijamyaham. Translation. Whenever and wherever
There is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion. At that time I descend myself.
Go ahead.
Nashaya chadushkritam
Dharma samstapanartaya
sambhavam yuge.
Translation. In order to deliver the pious
and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I invent myself millennium after millennium.
Text 9. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatpata chaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti swarjuna. Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature
of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
10. Vidaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamapashutaha bhavo jnana tapasa bhutamad bhavam agataha. Translation. Being freed from attachment,
Fear and anger being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
11. Etamam papajate Hamsitava pujamyam Mamavartman vartante Manusya parta sarvasya. Translation.
All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha.
And final text 12. Kancanta kamanam siddhim yajanta iha devata shipam manushe loke tadhir bhavati karmaja. Translation. Man in this world desires success
in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world.
So we'll go back to text 2 of this chapter. That's page 216. Someone can read the translation report.
The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Purport. It is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings, because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. This spirit is demonic. Because demons do not believe in God, but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Bhagavad Gita, an edition of the Gita in English, as it is received by the Parampara, disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time.
So, Lord Krishna is speaking, and he's the original teacher for all living entities because he's the original person. And he knows everything, past, present, future, and eternally. And he gives good instructions to all the living entities who are his parts and parcels, or his children, you might say. We're all children of God, parts and parcels of God. So as he's completely spiritual, and the living entities are also little tiny bits of perfectly spiritual entity conscious and without any destruction or deterioration. Krishna instructs what the living entity should do, and most of them agree. Just like in the government, most of the citizens, when they learn that the government laws are such and such, they follow them. They abide by them because they don't want to get in trouble and they don't want to cause any disturbance for others and the state. But there are some who don't agree to follow Krishna's instructions, and in trouble, and it creates a disturbance in society, especially if they become leaders. So even at the time when Krishna was present, there were leaders who were not willing to follow his instructions. For example, Duryodhana. Duryodhana was a family member of Krishna, a cousin brother. And still, although he was given advice to follow Krishna's instructions, he refused. And it was because of him that Kurukshetra needed to take place to make sure that such a person could not rule because he would not follow Krishna's instructions. So, Krishna decided to speak the Bhagavad Gita again. It was spoken formerly by him, the sun god, the superintendent of the sun planet. But in the course of time, the succession of saintly kings became deteriorated. And therefore, he wanted to reestablish the chain of the succession of teaching his message to the saintly kings, by the saintly kings. And Arjuna was the saintly king himself. So he would become the next student. And therefore Bhagavad Gita is a treatise between Krishna and Arjuna. Both are required. The perfect teacher is Krishna. The perfect student is Arjuna. And we should follow the footsteps of Arjuna. As he accepted everything that Krishna said, "Oh Krishna, I totally accept this truth. All you've told me. Karishe vachanam tava. And I agree to do as you wish." That's a perfect student. Someone may object that students shouldn't be so trusting. He might put his trust in the wrong person. That's true. But putting trust in Krishna is the best thing, not the wrong thing. How do we know? Because it's confirmed by Asito Devalo Vyasa, Narada. So many great personalities have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such personalities as Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, the Kumars, the Goddess of Fortune, and it just goes on and on. The list is immeasurable. It's unlimited how many persons who are qualified have testified that Krishna is the authority. He's the Supreme Being. He also proved it by his activities when he appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago. So anything else? Anyone like to?
May I ask a question, Maharaj? Thank you. I was wondering why we should follow the authorities if we're originally individual people. Why should we take instruction from those who are authorities? If we have
we follow authorities whenever we don't know something. Whenever the authorities give good guidance to help all the souls make progress. Just like if we have some illness, some pain, we go to the authority, the expert, he analyzes what's the cause and he helps us to get over it. So that's what authorities do. And in spiritual science, we in the material world definitely need some authoritative help. That's why we approach Krishna as Supreme Authority.
I was going to say that I appreciated this last line in the purport here. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity, but if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. So I appreciated how Prabhupada here is stressing the acceptance of the book in the proper way, and you made a comment that Arjuna exemplifies that he accepted whatever Krishna said as it was. What is the danger of philosophical speculation?
Danger is that someone gives their own opinion, which doesn't have any value. If someone who's unqualified gives his opinion about something very advanced, then it has no value. In fact, it has less than no value. It's not only not valuable, it can cause great harm to those who follow it. Because if someone doesn't know something and you ask him a question, he says, frankly, I don't know. I'm not from this area, I don't know the directions. But that's okay. He didn't know the answer to help you, but he didn't harm you. Now, if you ask someone and he said, I know exactly where to go. You go down that road, wait, then 10 miles, you turn right, then you go to the tree, and he gives you instruction. And they're all wrong. And he's harmed you. Wasted your money, your time, and maybe other things. So you don't want speculators speculating on the purpose of life, important things. What is our duty? Why are we suffering? This you want to find out from the best authorities.
Whenever Prabhupada is using the word demons here, disturbs me just a little bit. And I'm wondering, how to deal with that doubt, that it's kind of heavy.
Which one were you? Where?
Specifically, Prabhupada mentions that people who make a good business on the words of Krishna, it says, this spirit is demonic because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme.
Okay, where is that?
It's about the 2/3 down in the purport. Prabhupada is speaking about the innumerable interpretations.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
No, read it.
read it.
Oh, it says, yeah. The part you're concerned about. Read that, that'll be good. Then we can follow along.
Okay. It says, in the same way, at the present moment, also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not interpretations rendered, pardon me, almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna.
Okay, that's at the bottom of page 260. Go ahead.
This spirit is demonic because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme.
Okay. So that's a good definition. Demon, one who works against God. If he doesn't agree with God, that's demoniac, because the demon is someone who works against the betterment or the well-being of all living entities. God is taking care of all living entities. He's the one who loves all living entities. He's doing the best thing for everyone. Chaitanya Chaitanam, Eko Bahunam Yoga Didati Kama. He's supplying the necessities of everyone. Who could be more beneficial? Who could be more loving and helpful than God? So, what would be the worst thing to do? The worst thing to do would be to try to counteract or interfere with the God's plan. Because God's plan is good for everyone. And it's demoniac. What does it mean to be a demon? We have a translation or a definition what the word demon means. Someone has their phone. See the definition of a demon. See if Prabhupada used it correctly. Speak close to the mic, please.
An evil spirit or devil, especially one thought to possess a person or act as a tormentor in hell.
Yeah, tormentor in hell. What was the first part? Evil spirit.
Evil spirit.
What does an evil spirit mean? It means he's trying to bring evil upon others. What could be more evil than to not follow God? By someone trying to interfere with others who are following God's plan, that's evil. But what else? What could be more evil? It's one thing to go against a man, an ordinary man, or even a group of people. But to go against God, that's evil. Because God's all good. Unless you don't know God and you don't know what's evil. That's the problem. People don't like the word demon Because they don't know what God is. And God, you have. Any comment? So because we don't know what God is, we don't know what demon is. What else is there?
There's one that says reckless mischief.
Reckless mischief. Yes. When God establishes a system, a perfectly good system for feeding all the living entities, and that each one should live on certain type of foodstuff. For example, the animals with 4 legs, they're given grass to eat. And the beasts with very big, strong canine teeth and claws, they're given flesh to eat. They can eat the flesh of other animals, like a tiger. But you won't see a deer trying to eat the food the tiger eats. And the tiger doesn't eat the food the deer eats. That's God's arrangement. And God's arrangement also includes what should be eaten by humans. Humans should eat grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, milk, water, those other things. That's given as their food. But when they go against that and they establish horrible places that slaughter so many innocent animals, then that's against God's plan. And it has to be considered unhealthy. It's ungodly. Another meaning for demonic would be ungodly. Godly means all good, all benefits for everyone. Ungodly means bad for everyone.
I can understand someone who's like knowingly trying to exploit God or maybe his energies, but that person who's just like running from God, or maybe who's just maybe a little bit more innocent. But who's not in accordance, who's still living in ungodly ways, like eating meat, for instance. How can they be held to the same degree of how are they still referred to as a demon?
They refer to demons in the same way that someone who leads you down the wrong path and sends everyone over the cliff. Now, he may be an innocent demon. He may be innocently doing that. So then the proof is when he's instructed to stop that, because harming people, and because God wants him to stop it, if he agrees, then he's no longer a demon. Now he's acting godly. And if he disagrees, then he's a demon. So you could say that some of the people are innocent, yes, but they're being led by demons. So to be led by a demon is almost as good as being one yourself.
So when we're executing our devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, there seems to be quite a lot of detailed instructions. And one student may have a preference or a particular attraction or obsession with the particular ones. And another student may have a different opinion or attraction or something like that. So sometimes I experience a tendency to demonize even other practitioners of the spiritual practice because we differ, at least even momentarily, on some details. And why is, could you kind of explain that? And
well, neophytes, they do not appreciate the higher values. They have a tendency to find fault with others. That's typical of neophytes. But if they go on getting trained and they take further training, then they'll become intermediates. For example, let's say they're chanting Hare Krishna. When one first begins chanting Hare Krishna, he may not know, but there's offenses that interfere with his chanting. One should be careful to not commit offenses in chanting. That will be instructed by the teachers. But after instructing the students, if they continue to do so, then they're still neophyte. And they should try to improve. That's what education is for, helping us to improve by getting better knowledge. So if we get better knowledge, then, like you said, we won't necessarily find fault with others who have different opinions. If we can see that they have there's some particular aspect of when it's valuable, when that particular way of thinking or looking at things could be of value. Any other? Okay. Let's go on to the next text, please, and purport.
Text 3. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Purport. There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science, owing to his becoming the devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge, and some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demoniac, however, concocts something about Krishna and mislead the public and general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited. So, same continuation here. So Prabhupada is, in this 4th chapter, speaking about knowledge. And from the very beginning of this chapter, we're hearing about demon versus devotee. So these two concepts are very interrelated. And when we take knowledge from the right person and the right attitude, then our knowledge is perfect. And if we don't take knowledge or we take it in the wrong attitude, then it can be said that our knowledge has not yet become perfect. So Maharaj was mentioning the different classes of devotees. In general, we should always consider ourselves neophytes, and we should learn to forgive other neophytes, or we should learn to see the devotees for their good qualities. And if we do find faults in them, we should use knowledge to counteract our fault-finding tendency. So knowledge comes from the scripture and from the spiritual master and from the devotees. So this is the right way to follow the disciplic succession and be benefited. So the devotees, they describe that there's 3 classes of devotional service: the neophyte, the middle class, and the first class devotee. So the middle class devotee makes friends with the devotees. That means they don't want to hurt the devotees. They don't want to hurt them mentally or physically, and especially not spiritually. That's doing harm to somebody is the antithesis of friendship. And wanting to do harm to them is from envy. Envy, malice, hatred, this is all according to our lust. We are meditating on sense objects, whether that be subtle or gross. Like a certain situation is, I think I deserve a certain amount of respect. And when I don't get that amount of respect, which I've been meditating on as my quota or supposed quota for respect, then as soon as that respect is challenged or somebody doesn't offer me that subtle sense gratification, which I have been meditating on, then I become angry. So it's stated that Dvayato Vishitan Jayato Vishan Pumsa Sangas Teshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Krodho Bijayate. So we meditate on the sense objects, subtle or gross, and we become lusty or attached. Then we become lusty over them. Then we become angry when our desires are not fulfilled. So what we can understand is that in the neophyte status, we have a tendency to, our bhakti is mixed. So there's so many inappropriate motivations for our devotional service. And our meditation on Krishna is not one-pointed yet because our heart is still very dirty. So there's a tendency for us to become angry amongst the devotees. And it's very dangerous because anger can very easily destroy devotional service. Actually, if someone becomes angry, then it's described in the text just after that, one which I already quoted. It's chapter 2, text 62 and 63. It says 62 ends with anger becoming manifested when lust is not fulfilled. And the second verse states that from anger delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So from this anger, very quickly we can act in a way which is on the bodily platform, and we're subjected to karma on that level. Well, unfortunately, just like Maharaj was stating, that even if we have knowledge, sometimes we don't follow it due to our attachments, and then we make offenses. So these should be avoided. So Arjuna here, he is understanding that this knowledge is a system of surrender. Receiving perfect transcendental spiritual knowledge is about submission to the proper persons. And it's that submission isn't blind. It's actually a very active process to understand properly what's being asked of us and why. And when somebody takes the process very seriously, and then the transference of knowledge is made perfect. So Maharaj mentioned that the perfect disciple should be there and the perfect teacher. So that's what happened between Arjuna and Krishna. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Additional? Okay, we just have a few more minutes of hearing and chanting. So let's do text 4. Text 4, would you like to read it?
Text 4, translation. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Purport. Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them only Arjuna inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the personality of Godhead, or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last word in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal, original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjuna put this question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at present, but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. It is necessary that everyone for his own interest know the science of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the worlds. To the demons, such explanations by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. Those who are devotees heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements of Krishna because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheists, who consider Krishna an ordinary man, may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, that he is transcendental, and that he is above the domination of the modes of material nature, and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna's, like Arjuna, is undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjuna's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, subject to the modes of material nature.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.